The Australians then come here to Hull tonight, looking to set up a new record. They've won their first 11 matches on this tour, amassing an incredible 332 points. And if they win tonight, well, it'll be the most successful start ever by a Kangaroo touring team. The Australian side is virtually that, expected to appear in the second test at Wigan on Saturday. And the Australians, one change, in fact, from the first test would only be in the substitutes. Wally Lewis and Ray Brown taking the 14 and 15 shirts. And for Mal Meninga, it's a memorable return perhaps to Hull. He started the tour here with a try and 7 goals in the first game. He also got a try and 8 goals in the first test at Boothbury Park. This Hull side is of course the one which took the Challenge Cup final in a replay at Elland Road last May, and they currently lead the Slalom Lager Championship First Division. They've got everything on their plates tonight. Steve Rogers the kick-off, and the ball picked up on that far side by Donahara. So it's the suspicion of a knock-on, but now Keith Bridges at the play the ball. Experienced hooker, of course, from Featherstone Rovers and Bradford Northern. Hull in possession again, Bridges the first man, and coming up there was Lee Crooks. Surprising to see Lee Crooks in the Hull side tonight, because only yesterday he was declared unfit to continue with the Great Britain squad. Lovely kick through, and very good play indeed by the Hull loose forward Mick Crane. And the first penalty of the night going against the Australians, as it has done so often on this tour. Intelligent football that's by Mick Crane, the kick through, and as we've said so many times on this tour, you have to kick against these Kangaroos. Paul Prendeville's boot puts the ball safely into touch out of the ground, in fact, and so it's Hull in the ascendancy. First minute of the game. Dean, the first willing workhorse coming through there was Paul Rose, formerly of Hull Kingston Rovers, across the way. This is Mick Harrison driving in and falling to the tackle. Looking for Topless, it came the other way. Crane's in the thick of it again. Oh, if that pass had been collected there by Lee Crooks, there could have been trouble for the Australian defence. But the ball is now in the hands of Eric Groth. The Australian wingman very keen to get in on the action, Peter Sterling, and that's going to be a penalty kick offside there. And the offender was James Luluai, the Kiwi. Greg Brentnell, left-footed, will try and find a touch here. And that is not a good kick. Prendeville's underneath it, so is Evans, who takes it. Gary Campbell, what a good run. Falling in the end to the tackle by Max Krilic, the Aussie captain. But a lively enough start by the English Cup holders. Oh, and the referee is going to have to sort something out. The touch judges are on already, and once more it's Les Boyd. Les Boyd, who was sent off, of course, over the way at Hull Kingston Rovers in the first match of the tour, has now been the offender once more. Dean, good play this. Once more Crane, who's having a superb start to this match, in the thick of it. So this is Bright from Hull. Crooks, upended by Les Boyd and by Craig Young. And once more, not allowing Crooks to get up in the tackle, and Young concedes the penalty. And Lee Crooks wants to have a pot at goal. David Topless, directing operations, says put it into touch. Paul Prendeville does it better than Greg Brentnell did for Australia. We're in the action again. And it's Paul Rose, better known as a second row forward, but now playing as a prop for Hull, who picks it up. Back inside for Mick Harrison, who's back on Humberside after a spell with Leeds. And something of a surprise inclusion. Oh, the little kick through almost worked. It's come back to Tony Dean, and 6 more tackles. So that's helpful. little chip through, and it's fallen on for the Australians. I was just going to say there about Mick Harrison's surprise selection, that due to the fact that Trevor Skerritt has been ruled out through injury and is also a doubtful starter for the second test. The crowd in good heart and tying a few kangaroos down. But, Hull will certainly earn the acclaim of the whole of the rugby league in this country if they can tie the Aussies down. Growth playing it to himself and trying to burst down through the middle. It took 3 black and white hoop shirts to deny him. Krilic will be acting half-back. And good close spotting by Hull there. They were up very quickly, and a penalty given away though. So that's the first penalty, in fact, of the night to the Australians. Hull have already had 2 or 3. And a very big crowd here at the Boulevard. Hull really is known as the cradle, the home of rugby league in this country at the moment. There is no better supported club than Hull. It was Krilic who was injured there, and the trainer, having done the stuff, goes off again. So Krilic is all right. That ball hoofed into touch. So the Australians really for the first time getting inside Hull's half. Six minutes on the clock, and Eric Grothe is really willing for the action tonight, coming inside there, but the ball has gone outside this time to Les Boyd. Les Boyd, the only one of this team in fact who played on Sunday at Fulham. Another penalty given there against Keith Bridges. Yes, Boyd played at Fulham on Sunday and had stitches inserted in a leg injury. He told me it was the first time he'd ever had stitches in his life, which I find very hard to believe for a rugby league forward. So the first opportunity for points to go on the board. And it's Mal Meninga, who's already scored 5 tries and kicked 34 goals on this tour, who looks to add to that impressive tally. Well, Meninga kicked 7 goals here at Craven Park against Hull Kingston Rovers. He kicked 8 here at Boothbury Park, so he's completing a hat-trick of Hull sporting arenas tonight. I wonder if he can have an equally impressive goal tally. There's the kick on its way. Watch out for the flags. They stay down. The Hull fans cheer. So the kick out is fielded brilliantly by Kerry Bousted, who's off. What a sprinter, and what a good tackle on him by Mick Crane once more. What an inspired start Crane has had. It was Topless helping him out. One tackle was missed there, and Bridge is going in very hard indeed. Referee John Holdsworth from Leeds saw nothing wrong. And the flag's up once more. A little bit of off the ball stuff, I think, on that far side of the pitch. And for the second time, the referee having to cool things down. And it's Steve Evans that he's having a word with. It was a foul on Mal Meninga, so the penalty going to Australia. And this time they will certainly go for touch with Greg Brentnell. Nothing wrong with that, except that we've lost another ball. So here comes Eric Grothe once more. Very keen on playing the ball to himself and setting off tonight in his formidable tracks. Krilic, a good pass that was. And coming through on the burst was Wayne Pearce. Sterling. First time we've really seen him. Kenny, nice passing. Rogers trying to make the break. And Meninga is held on that touchline. Mal Meninga wearing 4 as opposed to 3 tonight, with Steve Rogers switching shirts. I think that was just to fool the cameraman. Krilic. Young's kick through is an excellent tactical kicker, is Craig Young, but on that occasion he got it all wrong. Well, they're lapping it up, they really are. A big crowd here then at the Boulevard, and Hull's supporters in very good voice. Well, I really felt that one. I'm sure Mick Crane did too. But he's had a particularly good start to this match. Harrison doing well to keep possession, aided and abetted by Crane. Now Bridges, Dean, Crooks willing to go on a run. Lee Crooks, very popular young favourite here, only 19 years of age, and got a lot to offer this game of rugby league as Lee Crooks, who's in possession once more. Great cheers going up all around there. Now the touch judge on this side is on the field, and not surprising, punches being flung left, right and centre. Again Boyd was in the middle of it, and so was Lee Crooks. And the touch judge immediately came to intervene. The referee was on the spot. That's the 3rd time there has been fighting of that sort in the opening minutes of this game. And after only 10 minutes of this game, Lee Crooks is going to have a talking to with Les Boyd. And how many times on this tour have we seen Les Boyd getting the lashing of a referee's tongue? Max Krilic has been called up as well. Really would be very irresponsible of Boyd if he was to get sent off here just 4 days before the second test. Booing all around, the fact that all 26 players are still on the park. And after 10 minutes, this, would you believe, the first scrum of the match. And penalty goes to Hull this time. Scrum wheeling round. So we still haven't had a satisfactory scrum. And Taff, as he's known, Paul Prendeville, cracks it into the crowd. Gets the original ball back from the crowd. Honest lads here in Hull. The fans of the Early Birds, as they're known. And a crunching tackle by Rod Reddy. Oof! And a fist flung, touch judges on again. Tempers very, very frayed indeed, and that was Paul Rose just swinging an arm at Rod Reddy, who'd made the tackle on him. And what is Mr. Holdsworth going to do about it? He's going to give a penalty to Australia. Well, that was fairly obvious. Nothing more. He merely points the finger at Rose. They're trying to get that ball out to Growth. Mal Meninga, who's in possession at the moment, it never quite got as far as Eric Growth. Always a roar of expectancy goes up whenever either of those two players does it. Nice work, good play by Proctor. And once more the touch judge is on, and this is getting quite ludicrous. We've had barely 11 minutes of this game. That's 5 times the touch judges have been called onto the pitch. And Mr. Holdsworth from Leeds is going to have a real job on his hands here tonight. It all happened while Peter Sterling was trying to wriggle free there, and again Mr. Holdsworth pulls over Mick Crane, points to him, stiff arm, he says, beware, penalty kick. So Hull conceding their 3rd penalty, and just inside the Australian half, so Greg Brentnell will gain useful ground. But it's certainly taking longer in this match for the Australians to find their rhythm than it has in any of the others. Good tackle once more, that time on prop forward Boyd. And here they go again. I wouldn't put any Australian dollars on Les Boyd staying on for the duration. Sterling. Ray Price trying to duck through a tackle. Not really successfully, not gained much ground so far, but they might now with McKay. Pearce, strong running man, Wayne Pearce, and he's got the ball through. But again, it didn't come out as far as the Australians would have liked. Good spot tackling. Now it might. Young, Meninga, still got possession, and he was trying to snaffle it away to Kerry Bousted. 5 tackles. As Bousted will play the ball back. Sterling's looking for it and gets it. A little kick through. Oh, it could be a good one. Oh, it hits the foot of the post, and it's the whole player that falls on it. I think if that ball had missed the post, there must have been a try on the cards for loose forward Ray Price, who was just waiting in anticipation. As it turned out, Hull got their possession. And Dean tries to do a little shimmy down the middle, makes valuable ground. Bridges to Harrison. And Harris has done well to gain some more valuable ground, and a penalty against Craig Young. The game littered with penalties. We've had 12, and I think we've been playing about 14 or 15 minutes, so that really is an indication of the way the game has been fought. And there it is, 15 minutes gone. Hull in possession, no points on the board. Australian lineup looking most formidable. Craig Young wasn't going to let Mick Crane get anywhere then, that's for sure. Paul Rose that time, who's done some fine work up front, Paul Rose. He and Crane have been particularly impressive. I thought Rose had been hurt there, he looks to be struggling to get to his feet. Oh dearie me, and Price and Rose now involved in a real slanging match. And the penalty has been given to the Australians. And the crowd behind me going positively wild at the moment. And it is very, very nasty out there. There's a gentle little pat from Kerry Bousted to full-back Kemble, the sort that was given to Terry Alderton in the Alderman in the cricket test in Perth. The referee, no question about it, saw what happened between Price and Rose and did nothing. It out right under his nose. Oh, it's like a cauldron out here, and one can only wonder why nobody's got sent off. Sterling has got Kenny. Is this the first try? It must surely be for Steve Rogers. The forward pass is given. Well, the handling was good between Sterling and then Reddy, and finally Steve Rogers was darting in behind the posts, but it was from a forward pass. So still we await the first points of the night. And it's Hull's put into the scrum. Comes out on the Hull side too. I don't think that ball ever went in the scrum, but the referee didn't seem to mind. Oof, almost an interception there too. Dean, Crooks. Nice little run once more by loose forward Crane. Topless almost finding a gap. Such a wily footballer, David Topless, who's enjoying some of an Indian summer here with Hull, having left Wake to Trinity a couple of seasons ago. A towering kick which Brentnell will collect without the slightest problem. He's got it away to Groth, who's in full stride, and look at Eric Groth go. He made 40 yards then, and only a slip stopped him going any further. Tremendous sight in full flight. Well, the Hull supporters trying to rally their side. They know that they've been called on to defend very, very hard at the moment, and the ball was knocked forward, and it's going to be a scrum down. So if we Recall that Hull have just won a scrum. I think that's the only one that's been won cleanly in this match so far. This time it's coming out on the Australian side, and Sterling is trying to make a dart for the line. He's not going to be able to get the ball away though, and Tony Dean has snaffled it from him as well. Good play that by Dean, nothing illegal about that. He's got a cheeky grin on his face as he comes up to confront Sterling as well and says, "There you are, Cobber, I got it from you." Crane once more making a solid sort of burst down the middle, getting good ground. Now Dean, and they're coming up quickly, the whole forwards. Crooks there. I think Lee Crooks will be enjoying this game more than he did his first taste of the Australians, which was in the first Test match for Great Britain. His first Test, of course, too. Now the sprightly little Dean trying to get the ball away to O'Hara, and the ball rolls harmlessly into touch. So exactly halfway through the first half and no points on the board, and that is a welcome sight for all British Rugby League followers. But the Aussies, as we've said so many times, round about this time in a game often make their mark on it. Ray Price going in with a final shove into that scrum. Mr. Holdsworth having a bit of a job on to control it. He's still not happy with it. Happily, tempers seem to have just cooled slightly. Well, that might have taken a bit of the sting out of the game, of course. And the referee's happy, the ball is out on the Hull side, and the whole crowd are happy too. Well, the first run there was by Wayne Proctor. The second one by Crane. There's a real glutton for work tonight. Topless making a good break, getting the ball inside to Steve Evans, who's got tremendous pace. What a roar will go up here if they could get a try. It must have been knocked forward. Steve Evans showing great pace then. The touch judge is on once more, and a penalty has been given against the Australians. It was Greg Brentnell who committed the offence which leads to the penalty. What a marvellous run that was by Steve Evans as he got the ball back inside to Dane O'Hara. O'Hara was illegally tackled by Brentnell, and so it's a penalty and a real chance for Hull to put their first points of the night on the board, indeed the first points of the game. O'Hara, one of the 4 Kiwis in this side, just receiving some attention. The tap taken, and Hull over the Australian 25. Bridges, Dean, a great roar going up there as Paul Rose came into the thick of things. And they'll be looking for the real Pac-Man. Crane again, he almost made it, but Sterling just grabbed the ankle. Dean, who's having a growing influence on this game, scurrying through a gap, falling before Craig Young. Plays it to himself, goes for the drop, and still gets possession back. 6 more tackles. That worked well, even if he didn't register a point. Now then, what can Hull conjure up here? They're trying to work the ball across. Once more it was Crane in there. Proctor went looking for it then. Meninga tried to steal the ball and couldn't. So it's still Hull, throwing everything forward into the gap. Oh, the pick-up, it must surely be a knock forward. Not only that, it was a forward pass and just about everything else as well. Well, the crowd enjoyed that. You can hear them singing. Tremendous atmosphere here, no doubt about that. At the Boulevard, it does evoke atmosphere. And the Aussies finding this as tough a test as they've had on the tour. It's out to Australia. Good scrum half play by Sterling, falling on that ball quickly. The scrums are 2 apiece at this moment. Oh, the ball knocked back, and so Kenny it is who has to retrieve the situation for Australia. Can't get rid of the ball either. He couldn't release it. Rod Reddy making good ground. Reddy, if anybody, is one of those players who might find his test place in some jeopardy this weekend. Paul McCabe and John Muggleton pressing hard for a spot. Although how on earth anybody can think of changing a team which has won the first test by 40 points to 4 must be something of a mystery. Frank Stanton has admitted, though, that everybody is playing for a place on this tour. So, on the halfway line, Australia. Growth, here he goes again. Again, he goes like a bull, and it takes a bull-like tackle to get him down. Sterling trying to work it with Young, almost gets through in the gap. Krilic comes up and led good support, so did Boyd. Legs going a bit there, and Boyd has got a real hot head, tussling, and he's left his opponent down on the ground. And now an interception. Has Dean got the legs to go all the way? He's cut back inside. Good tackle by Brentnall. And Brentnall won't let Dean go this time. And for the second time in 3 or 4 minutes, commits the offence. Penalty kick, which Prendeville will tuck into touch. Crooks, who got injured, is back up again on his feet, so he's all right. He's just telling David Topless that I think he might be having a bit of a go for Les Boyd in a minute, something we're going to have to watch out for. Rose storming in. It's a good performance this by Hull, spirited. Harrison, 2 men round his neck, isn't going to get very far. Now then, they're building up nicely. There's Luluai, one of the Australians. James Luluai has become a firm favourite here with the Hull fans. That was Proctor showing some appetite then. Now they're trying to work the ball through. A high kick from Cucumber. He's forced back over his own line, and that means it's a drop out under the post. So Australia being made to defend, and the crowd considerably encouraged by the whole performance in these first 25 minutes. Ooh, that's not a really good kick by Rogers either. It's gone straight to Steve Evans, who's trying to set up a good attacking position here. Topless trying to work things with Crane. They've lost the ball, it's coming wide though. Can Prendeville get in the corner? He might well do. Prendeville almost making it, tried to swerve his way in at the corner. The supporters behind me were shrieking their heads off, and it was almost impossible to see whether he was going to make it or not. He didn't. And Prendeville has picked up something of a knock there, but that the closest that either side has really come to a try, apart from that disallowed effort from Steve Rogers. So it was all a little bit frantic out there. So 28 minutes of this game are gone, and here's Lee Crooks. 2 points. Hull are in front. So the penalty that was given away there in the wake of that attempted try from Prendeville. Gives Hull the start they wanted. Good take by Gary Campbell, good run too. This is much brighter. Brilliant, and the kick through to Luluai almost paying off. Hull really inspired at the moment. Trying to get the ball out left. Proctor was trying to get the ball back inside then to Prendeville. Now Topless, Crooks, driving down the middle. Reddy and Young taking him. But Hull having a really inspired spell at the moment. Oof, and that was an inspired tackle too by Meninga. Two of the Hull supporters will see no more of this match. They've just been passed over my head into the hands of the constabulary. And that's ball back, scrum down. So with 9 minutes to go to half-time, the touring team find themselves behind. And I wonder, is it possible that the unbeatables can be beaten? So the ball's out on the Hull side. Oh, and a bit of mishandling by McCrane. Ball picked up again there, and Mr. Holdsworth, after some considerable thought, deciding that it was indeed a knock-on. That scrum wheeling round like a demented octopus. Oh, and the referee saying nothing wrong with that scrum either. Evans has come in midfield, trying to go the other way and fool his marker Sterling. It didn't come off. But this very promising from Hull. The English Cup holders looking good at the moment. Topless. Oh, and Proctor's making a big gallop. Luluai back inside. It didn't quite run right, but Dean has managed to keep possession for Hull. Crane, who's had an excellent first half, looking for Proctor. He falls under the challenge of Rod Reddy. And, a bit of verbals going on between Crooks and Reddy. I didn't really see anything wrong with it all. Ooh, and that ball almost lost there. In fact, it's on the ground and it's a scrum down. To be an Australian put in. Peter Sterling is clinging onto the ball for the moment until he's satisfied and the referee's satisfied. It's out again to Hull. Bridges has done a manful job in the scrums, and some enterprising attacking play down that far side of the field. It's all come to naught now. And it was Evans who gave what turned out to be a loose pass, and the ball is back in the Australians' hands with Meninga. Oh, and the touch judge is back on. Thankfully, we haven't seen much of the touch judges recently, but one of them's on the pitch again now. Mr. Holdsworth seems to be ignoring him. Go away, he says. Oh, and how close was Brentnell to getting through that gap? Krilic is through one. But the Australians haven't had to wait so long for a try as they have in this match. They do have a penalty kick. And at long last, the touch judge is going to be listened to. Probably going to ask the ref what time it is. And the penalty is now given to Australia. And Max Krilic is saying, plonk it between the posts, Mal. He's telling Meninga he wants to kick it and get the touring team back on level pegs. Don't think the referee could even hear Meninga then, even though he was standing right next to him. The obligatory sand, the very necessary white ball, and the boot of Meninga here trying to combine to get Australia back into this game. Just 6 minutes to go to the half-time whistle. Hull leading 2-0, but for how long? Meninga so thoughtful about this kick. It's a straight enough kick. It's a pretty long one, and has he got it? He's got the distance again. He's just slewed it wide. I can't have missed by more than a few inches there, but miss it did. And so the gamble didn't pay off. Hull still have their noses in front. 5 minutes of the first half to go then. Collected by Reddy. Let's turn it back inside to Meninga, who'll try and make up for that lapse by getting a try. He took so much getting down then. Big, strong man, Mal Meninga. Policeman, of course, back home. Now Ray Price, who's had a fairly quiet first half, but has got through a couple of tackles there. Sterling, have they got the skill? We know they've got the speed, but they didn't quite work it as well as they would have liked. Rodgers has made a very spirited run down the middle, though. Now Krilic, he's got a real captain's job to play here. Pearce coming through on the burst. Boyd now running well. Very good run from Les Boyd. Sterling, Price again going for the gap. These important closing minutes of the first half for Hull. They'd feel so much happier going into their dressing room 2 points ahead than they would 3 points down, which is exactly what Australia are trying to conjure up now. With Reddy, he's got the ball back inside for Krilic. Good tackle though. Sterling and Young trying to turn it back inside to Pearce, and that's going to be an obstruction and penalty kick given. Yes, I thought there was an obstruction there on the Australian side as they were trying to work something out. So Steve Evans has picked up something of a knock there. Hull substitutes this evening Barry Banks, who can play either full-back or stand-off half, and Mick Sutton, a prop forward. Prendeville finds a very good touch. Very, very good touch indeed. It's carried play well inside the Australian half. And we'll all be listening out for the hooter. Not long of this first half remaining. It's long enough for somebody to register a try, and it's Hull who've got the ball. Price and Crane, the respective number 13s there. And Crane, I must say, has done well. Now then, can Hull get a try? The fullback back inside to right wing O'Hara. Oh, where is he? Oh, so close, Dane O'Hara. A fine run by the fullback Kemble. And Hull really throwing this ball around. Bridges has done well. Dean gets it out now to Evans. Back inside for Luluai. Ducks inside 1 and 2 tackles. The Australian defence holds firm for the time being. It's back to 6 tackles as well. They're besieged at the moment as they swing the ball far wide right. He must pick this one up, and he does. Gets through a tackle too, gets through 2. O'Hara going for the line again. Spirited play this from the Hull three quarters. And Dean and Topless really orchestrating everything at the moment. As Rose goes plunging in and is tackled by Sterling. The Aussies won't want to concede a try before half-time. Crooks is coming into the action. Oh, the ball lost momentarily. Regained, but it's going to be a scrum down. Steve Evans, who will have been keen to impress the Great Britain selectors, having been dropped after the first test when he played, of course, on the left wing, has unfortunately dropped a couple of passes, though he has made one very telling run in this first half. So a crucial scrum if Bridges can win this one for Hull. Well, there could have been something on the cards. As it is, he's going to get another chance anyway. Another scrum down. Can Bridges win the ball for Hull? Oh, sure, that was feeding. No doubt about that. That ball was put almost into the second row. Hull have a penalty. Oh, again, it's knocked on this time by O'Hara. Possession lost. And we're inside the last 60 seconds of this first half, with Hull leading by 2 points to 0 And you can imagine they'll get a rousing reception if that's the way it is as they go off for their half-time oranges. Or even something stronger, I would think, in the Australian dressing room. They might need it. Here they come. Topless. He's got the ball through for Luluai. Luluai might get there himself. Prendeville's the man immediately behind him. What a dramatic finish we could have to the first half. Crooks goes driving in. The tackle by Pearce is a good one. Reddy's there too. Into the gap goes Harrison, trying to slither over. Still a few yards to go to the line, but Hull really willing to fling this ball about. Crooks, once more for fullback Kemble. The Australian tackling there exemplary, but still Hull driving at the line. The little chip through. He's there. It's a try for Hull, right on the stroke of half-time, and that's a brilliant try from David Topless, which puts Hull into a 5-point lead with power to add. Brilliant football as David Topless goes back to the halfway line. He's got plenty to celebrate there. That was great football thinking. The little chip through, and he got his palm to the ball first. And David Topless registers a try against the Australians, a feat in itself, which is why they've got their huddle behind the goalposts. They don't like to concede anything, these Kangaroos. Hull 5 points ahead. Crooks can make it 7, and I'm pretty sure the hooter will be fairly adjacent to that. What a way this will be to send the teams in at half-time if Crooks kicks the goal. And we're going to have a real match on in the second half. Crooks, 7-0. And for the first time on this tour, Australia are up against it. The teams go off, and Hull have earned that rousing reception which they receive now from the early bird supporters. That try from Topless coming at a great psychological moment on the stroke of half-time. That allied to Crooks' earlier penalty and his conversion gives Hull a 7-point cushion. I wonder if it's going to be enough, because the Australians are really going to throw everything at them in the second half. And what a second half that should turn out to be. Here at the Boulevard, it's Hull 7 points, Australia 0. Well, we're away then for the second half, and what a remarkable first 40 minutes we've had. Hull registering that try through David Topless right on half-time, and that guarantees that we're in for a thrilling second 40 minutes of this game. Hull's turn to kick off, which means that it'll be Australian possession first with Kerry boosted. Crooks not allowing him to get up easily. Krilic spotted a gap and went on the wrong side there. That fooled him for a moment or two. Now he plays it to himself, so a good start by the Australian captain, who's got a job on here to raise the morale of his side. They're not used to being beaten, certainly not used to being behind, and Hull have got the ball. Good quick thinking there, but it certainly wasn't good work by Wayne Pearce, allowing Mick Crane to get in ahead of him. Bridges floating that ball out to Dean, the crowd chanting attack, 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 and that's just what Hull are doing. Good play once more by Crane, who's done as well as anybody in this Hull pack. He really has had an outstanding game as Mick Crane. Topless the try scorer. The kick by Crooks, another towering kick. And well taken once more by Greg Brentnall. He really is as good as anybody in the world in that situation. Fights off one marker. Growth had used his considerable power coming inside there, so there'll be nobody out on the wing if Price can get the ball clear. Held in the tackle. Has to play the ball after that challenge from Crooks, and trying to work something through Rod Reddy. He's hammered back a few yards. penalty there. The Hull player, Mick Harris, never really retreated at that play of the ball and concedes the penalty kick. Greg Brentnall finding a safe enough touch. And Groth sets off. So happy to take people on, Eric Groth. And slithered inside there to make a bit of ground. Krilic coming through on the burst was Pearce, and he was coming through strongly, which made that tackle from Crane all the more admirable, assisted by Crooks. Now Sterling, he's had his hardest game of this tour. Brentnall's come up in the line to help out. Now Ray Pearce driving down the middle. Imperative for Hull to hold the Australians as long as they can without conceding anything in this match. All a bit scruffy out there at the moment. Sterling tries to bring some semblance of order to it. Now Reddy's gone well. Good running, and Brett Kenny. Oh, the pass wasn't a good one. He was too far behind Meninga, too far ahead of Rogers, but he's still got possession. Steve Rogers showing what a good centre he is, and getting the pass into Peter Sterling. Sterling got 2 tries at Hull Kingston Rovers. If he can get his man in here for Australia, as he has indeed, and Boosted has got the try, and that all stemmed from the play by Peter Sterling. First of all, Rod Reddy charging in, then Peter Sterling carrying it on, and the pass in the end was a good one, and Kerry Boosted goes in at the corner for his 7th try of the tour. And well, it was greeted in almost total silence, was that try, which there was a moment's hesitation, I'm sure, in my voice as I tried to peer over there and see Boosted going over in the corner, but the crowd was absolutely stunned by that, and that's just what Hull didn't want at the start of this second half. So the Australians registering their first points in the game. But obviously a very difficult kick for Meninga to negotiate. He's had the distance with both his previous attempts at goal tonight, but he's not had the direction. Let's see if he can get both here. Constant whistling around the ground, trying to put Mal Meninga off. I don't think that will worry him too much, and that looks a much better kick, but it's drifted wide in front of the posts. So Meninga still to notch up his first points tonight. And at the Boulevard it's Hull 7, Australia 3, and we still have something of a match on our hands. That the encouragement that the Australians needed in these opening minutes of the second half. Over on the far side of the field, Barry Banks, the Hull back substitute, is just going through his exercises, which suggests perhaps he might be coming on. But for the moment Australia have the possession, and they're looking willing and eager, and Pearce running through, almost getting into the gap. In the end he has to keep possession himself. Wayne Pearce, distinctive with that white headband. And Krilic, good play by the Australian captain. Krilic has had a very good start to this second half. Sterling, now Price, just trying to struggle free and release the ball. The Australians somehow have brought some real pep and urgency into their second half play. Here's Les Boyd. And this is a vastly improved Australian side to the one which went into the dressing room. So Frank Stanton's talk has obviously worked wonders. Pearce falling to a good challenge from Dana Hara. 6 tackles. But that the best concerted spell we've seen from the Kangaroos. They still trail 7-3 though. And it's out on the Australian side for Sterling. It goes round the blind side. And the penalty given there against Ray Price. I think even John Holmes was having a go. They're trying to separate bodies there. And oh dearie me, just as we had at the start of the first half, tempers very, very hot. Max Krilic once more being called over. Cool it down, he says. That's the referee saying that. It was Peter Sterling originally, and then Ray Price who got involved. And even Peter Sterling's just having a bit of a go at Price there and saying, look, for goodness sake, don't lose your rag in this sort of atmosphere, we could get beaten. And Prendeville finds his touch all right. And Bridges sets us off again. Paul Rose. There's Boyd and Reddy going in hard. Fairly on that occasion. Now Harrison is asked to do the running. Always makes 5 or 6 yards, Mick Harrison, with that colossal bulk of his. And the whole forwards have put in an impressive stint of work here tonight. Luluai's got it away to Dean. Prendeville. He's not had many running chances, Paul Prendeville. 5 tackles gone. Did well to get the ball away. Crooks will put in another kick. Well, it might be a very, very good kick. It is indeed. What a good kick that was for young Crooks. He screwed the ball back almost over his head. Found a touch which even he, I don't think, anticipated. The scrum is formed, the ball is in it. It's out on the whole side, great cheering going up. So a real chance here for Hull then to press their claims as they try and work it around the scrum with Dean and Topless. Here's Dean again now. Crooks over to Luluai, who's a sprightly character, James Luluai. First came to this country as a member of the New Zealand touring team a couple of years ago. Crooks is cut through. Fielded by Brent Nall, and the tackling is done by Steve Evans. So the Australians having to drop out from under their own posts, not a situation they seem to enjoy. Steve Rogers made a bit of a hash of it the last time he was called upon. Let's see what he can do now. Oh, again, it's not a good kick. In fact, it struck the referee. But Hull have the possession all right. And Harrison looking for Topless once more. Rose it was then coming into it. Topless here again, the try scorer. Now Bridges will play the ball. And they've got plenty of men out on this right-hand side as Luluai goes streaming for it. Kemble tries to get in. No Harders there now. Good tackling. And the claim is for a try. The referee says that the ball was not grounded properly. Penalty to Australia. But Hull really throwing everything at the Aussies. And this, without question, the hardest match the tourists have had. Bradford Northern started it off a week or two ago with a good performance against them. Fulham also played quite well. And now Hull are really giving them a test, which is the best thing that they could have asked for, of course, 4 days before the test match. Krilic, always lost the ball. And can Hull yet get something out of it? The Australians really have lost the ball needlessly on a couple of occasions in this half. Crooks driving forward. Bridges, now Dean. They'll try and get it out to people like Luluai and Evans and Kemble, who always look dangerous. Particularly Luluai and Kemble. The kick through by Rose. Again, Brentnell has to go dashing back for it. Fields it safely. Oh, and runs clear well. Oh, what a good piece of play by Greg Brentnell. That looked a forward pass. The referee saw it too. But well played, Greg Brentnell there. He was under the cosh in that corner, but he wriggled free and made very good ground. Sign of a great fullback, that. David Topless had a change of shorts, perhaps to bring him extra luck. He's whiter than white at the moment, unlike the rest of them out there. It's out on the whole side again, and Topless has just got his shorts dirty, and the Australians have the ball. That was Kenny, who was up quickly to get possession for Australia. He's had a quiet match really, as Brett Kenny, but he was seen to good evidence then. Reddy's fought one tackle off. No, he hasn't. Stuck at it well then, did Crooks. Aided by Luluai. Sterling. There could well be a big gap here if Pearce can get the ball away as he does to Meninga, who's off down that touchline, and tackle from Campbell. He's got the ball back inside though to Groth. That was brilliant football by the Australians. First of all by Sterling, then by Meninga going down the touchline, and finally by Eric Groth, who got the touchdown. Groth's fifth try, and what a fine one it was. So much to admire there. Meninga's powerful running, the good tackle by Campbell which stopped him going all the way, but then the ball turned inside by Meninga and Eric Groth gets the try. So 14 minutes of this second half gone, and the Australians have registered 2 tries in those 14 minutes, but they're still a point behind unless Meninga can, well, he's left it to Steve Rogers actually, unless Steve Rogers can tack on the goal points here. I think Meninga had taken plenty out of himself then. And one of the Hull players is being escorted off the pitch out on the far side. I think it's James Luluai who's going off. Yes, Luluai going off. So Barry Banks will come on for Hull. All that's happening while Steve Rogers tries to compose himself and knows the Australians in front. Not an easy kick by any means, and it's drifted across the face of the posts, so Hull still have the lead, 7-6. Well, on Sunday at Fulham, Harry Edgar was making the point that goal kicking is not the strongest part of this Australian side. And that's the way it's been seen again tonight, because they've yet to land anything between the sticks. Meninga's missed 3 times and Rogers has missed once. But they have got 2 tries to 1. Oh, what good play by Boosted. Krilic ready to marshal the forces again, as he's done expertly in this second half to get the Aussies going again. They really did experience their worst 40 minutes of this tour in the first half. Now Pearce, collared by Topless. Good tackle that from the Hull skipper. Sterling has got it through again. Meninga's off on another charge down the touchline. Kicks ahead himself. He's now in a dash with Campbell, and Campbell's there and did well. But once more Meninga driving down that touchline, and the Australians suddenly seem to be bringing their experience to bear and are having a much happier second half than they did at first. And Hull still lead. Scrum down in a dangerous position for Hull. Keith Bridges has done so well in the scrums. They need him to be at his best here. It's a Hull put in. It's in and out, and the referee's unhappy. So down they go again, and who's going to get it? It's out on the whole side, much to the delight of the early bird supporters. Dean bringing Crooks into it. Lee Crooks had quite a battling performance there for Hull. Harrison not getting very far on that occasion, and the Australians will be delighted to keep Hull in their own half at the moment and keep up this attack, which has brought them those 2 tries, and indeed they've gone close on another couple of occasions recently. But Dean makes a good clearing kick. It's going to fall right this time though for Boosted, who comes inside so quick and elusive, and he's got the ball away too in the tackle. It's Kenny with it now, trying to drag his way almost up to the 25. Meninga has moved over there to help out. Referee Holdsworth just watching that nobody's straying offside on the Hull side. I think there's only been one offside in the whole game. Pearce, oh, he's got through the gap. I thought he had Rodgers. Brentnell coming up, Rodgers instead gets it away, and Krilic picks it up. The ball was knocked back, so Australia retained possession, but that wasn't the slickest handling they've shown on this tour. Sterling, oh, and through the gap. What a tremendous run by Rod Reddy. Very, very good with Sterling making the dummy run. And Australia undoubtedly going for their 3rd try as Sterling, so elusive, gets the ball back inside for Brentnell, who's as close to the line as it's possible to be without scoring. The hand is up for 5 tackles. So can the Australians conjure something up from this play the ball? He's there, I think. Well, under a mass of bodies, no he's not. It was as close as they could get. Good try that. Again, scrum half Sterling showing just how effective he is. Came here as the second choice really to Steve Mortimer, but has played so well that he's made the test position his own. It's out on the Hull side again, but the ball must go back in. Right underneath the posts. And the crowd holding its breath as one. Hull leading in the scrums 9-3, so you can sense just what sort of a good job Keith Bridges has done. That was very, very messy indeed. Well, it was right under the sticks, and a few people were holding their breath then. So the dropout under the post. Well, that's a better one than Steve Rodgers managed to effect. The ball knocked back by Wayne Pearce. It did bounce badly for him, and now Eric Grove has it. The ball was knocked back. There was some hesitation in the minds of the Australians then about whether they'd be offside if they played it. Boyd turns inside one tackle. Can't get very far though. Proctor clinging on to him. Hello, hello. Boyd is there again with a little punch. Well, I think Harrison might well have been trying to fool the referee. There were gap opening. I think it was Boyd going through it once more. Midway inside the second half, Hull still lead by a point, but Krilic is coming forward and driving these Australians. Ray Price in possession at the moment, but it's still 7-6 to Hull as Kenny gets into the action and does well to hold on to that ball actually, but Evans also clinging on to him. He's still got it, so Australians might yet get something here. And the ball being flung about all over the place as Pearce gets in. 5 tackles gone. And they'd love to get a 3rd try and actually edge in front. Young now driving for the line, back inside for Sterling, and now for Kenny, flings it out wide. Meninga, it's picked up by Boosted, who's charging over, and Boosted, tremendous run that by the winger who got the 1st try and got Australia back into this match, and he really is so quick. Another scrum down right on the Hull try line. Kerry Boosted's picked up something of a knock there in trying to get that 3rd Australian try, which will cause a little bit of concern. The Australian trainer coming out just to see what the matter is. So good to see our friend Mr. Richards on about his 5th or 6th trip, I believe, to Great Britain. Anyway, the scrum is formed once more. Hull's put in with Tony Dean, and the Australians really pushing Hull back at the moment. And it's out for Australia. But in fact it came out on the Australian side, but Hull managed to get the possession. Well, the crowd gone quiet in these last few minutes as they sensed that Australia were really driving their way back into this game. But it shouldn't be forgotten that Hull lead by a point. And the crowd giving them good vocal support. Bridges. Good running once more by Mick Crane. Crane for me has been the outstanding figure in this whole side, along with Topless, or well taken by Boosted. What a good footballer Kerry Boosted is, and sprightly as well. Pinned this time by Prendeville. He's not seen a great deal of the action, but what he's done well. 2 tackles gone, 4 to go. As Price takes it up, tries to make good ground and does so. He got the ball away to Rogers, who lost it. Well, he knocked it forward and then didn't allow Evans to pick up. So it's a scrum down. But if Steve Rogers had collected that pass from Ray Price, he would have had a fair chance of going all the way to the line. Tony Dean was quick to get back into the thick of it, but it's a penalty to Australia. Nick Harrison's kicking the ball away very foolishly indeed, conceding a needless penalty. And they can ill afford to do silly things like that, Hull. In fact, it's an interesting statistic. There have been 14 penalties against Hull. Not surprisingly, Mal Meninga is going to have a hot shot at goal, because Australia know they're in a real fight here, and if he can land this one, then for the first time in this game Australia will have their noses in front. Well, Meninga has been unsuccessful so far tonight. First time he's played in a match and not kicked a goal. He's had a very consistent tour indeed, scoring 5 tries and landing 34 goals for a tally of 83 points. I wonder, can he make it 85? Again, the constant banging around the ground, trying to put Meninga off. We'll soon know when we watch the touch judges' flags. There's the kick, it's flat, oh, and it's through. But how lucky, and that maybe has signalled the change of fortunes that Australia needed. The ball canning in off and upright. And Meninga just discussing it with the referee. So Meninga at long last gets his name on the score sheet with that penalty kick. But Hull have got a good possession with Topless. Now then, I wonder, can Hull get back in front? Crooks. A race for the loose ball, but Brentnell has it. So the little kick through not working out that time for Hull. But they've really given a good account of themselves. But they'll be eager not to concede a try now as Growth sets off and tries to bring some respite to the Australian defence. And he's as good as anybody for doing that. Oh, well done by Sterling again. Such an elusive character. Look how far he managed to get then, with 2 players hanging on round his neck, which is a testimony to his strength and fitness. The Hull player is down on the far side of the field. It's Topless, so he's out of the action for the moment, and the second he gets up he's back in it. Knock on. Still everything to play for in this game. Hull 7, Australia 8. Penalty to Hull. Great roar going up as referee Holdsworth made the signal, and Paul Prendeville's being asked to come over and put this one into touch. And what a good touch Prendeville finds there. I think the crowd thought for a moment that it was going to be caught, but it was a very good touch for Hull to find. Bridges, the long ball back. The muddied number on the back of that shirt is 10, which signifies Paul Rose. Now Crooks. Dean's come much further forward as they try and conjure something up. He couldn't quite get the ball away in the tackle. But this is really sprightly. What a lively game Hull have played. And they've really shown that these Australians can be beaten, even if they do trail by a single point at the moment. They're not invincible. Oh, Evans has lost it. Got it back. And fortunately knocked it back as well. 5 tackles gone, and Crooks is down, and that's going to be 6. And another substitution is about to be made. The huge number 1 has gone up, which signals that the Australian fullback Greg Brentnell is coming off. So the scrub is down. Comes out on the Australian side, but the referee wasn't entirely happy about the way that ball was put in. Wally Lewis waiting to get into the thick of things as replacement for Brentnell. We can't do so until all this is sorted out after this scrum. And a penalty to Hull. Feeding at the scrum, they've taken it quickly. The Australians can't make their substitution. Kemble is brought down, 1 tackle. Topless, the architect, getting through the gap, and Topless, scorer of Hull's try right on half-time, taking his team close again. And of course it's a very fair ploy for Hull at the moment to be thinking of a drop goal, which would get them back level at 8-all. I think Dean was thinking about it too then. In the end decided against, but they've still got the ball. Topless wondering which way to go, and there is the drop goal, but it's missed. It's wide of the target from Lee Crooks. And Australia still determined to make that substitution, which they can now do, I think. Wally Lewis at long last gets the chance to come on, and it's Greg Brentnell who's going off. It'll be interesting to see if he's picked up anything of a knock there, which might make him doubtful for the test. Anyway, Brentnell is off and Lewis is on. So there are only 10 minutes of this game remaining. Australia leading by a point. They do look so strong when they get moving, as they are doing now with Pearce. And now Sterling it. And if it comes over this side, Price was looking to get the ball away for Rogers. Didn't come. Oh, good play once more by Reddy, who's had an excellent second half. Krilic into the gap, fighting them off. He bustled 2 of the Hull defenders away from him there as though they didn't exist. Krilic too has had a good second half. Reddy is very willing to work in this second half too. Lewis for the first time. Oh, and it might be a good tactical substitution as well. A pair of fresh legs in the last 10 minutes, always a help of course. And here they come looking, and Sterling's turned inside. He's still going, brought down now. 5 tackles gone. And Reddy once more trying to get down the middle, and he's collared under the posts. 6 tackles, so the whole defence holding good. But still, we've got a real match on here, with just 1 point separating these sides. And the crowd, and it's a big one, has had its money's worth. Both trainers have been on and off the pitch in the last few seconds, but all the repairs seem to have been carried out satisfactorily. And the ball is out. Ooh. I wasn't sure which side it was going to come out on then. It came out to a Hull player, Proctor, but the referee's not happy. It's another scrum down. Max Krilic would dearly love to win this one. I think he'd almost give up his tour money. They get the ball out now. And didn't need to do. Penalties have been given against Australia. Tony Dean kidded everybody. The referee's making some splendid signs. The trainers are back on. And Hull can breathe again. Once more, it was a stupid penalty to give away for Australia in that position. Vandervil's found touch impeccably this evening. So the Australian defence being called on once more. Not long left in this game for Hull to get back in front, but they'll give it absolutely everything. It was Rose going in, now Crane. Harrison making very good ground again, Mick Harrison. To say he's not been a regular in the side this season, he's done a manful job. Topless, back inside for Evans. And the crowd singing once more, trying to get Hull going. They know that the line can be beaten. Oh, and they've lost the ball. That ball snaffled there by Mal Meninga. Hello, hello. Meninga plays it to himself. Barges off two men, still going Meninga. And the strength of an ox, he made 10 or 15 yards then. Now Price. The Australians really looking to seal this match now. As Pearce gets going. But Pearce not had the running chances tonight that he's had in previous games. Sterling. Sterling's had a superb second half, he really has. And I think he'll cling on to his test place all right, despite Mortimer's claims. Now Krilic back inside for Reddy, and Reddy still going. He's been superb too. Rogers has Growth outside him. Can Rogers get in? With his brute strength he can. Eric Growth, and the Australians leap in the air. They know that that could well have sealed it. Growth is so strong that he honestly swats people off like flies, and there is virtually no stopping him in full flight. It's his second try, and that surely is going to clinch the Australians' victory and keep their unbeaten record intact. With just 6 minutes to go, the Australians fling their arms open and acknowledge the few cheering supporters in the crowd, because it looks as though they're going to break all records. If they do indeed win this match, it will be their 12th victory in succession, and that will be enough to make this the most successful ever Kangaroo start to a tour. 74 minutes gone, and Eric Growth's second try of the night, his 6th of the tour, surely looks to have clinched matters now for the Kangaroos. But what a battle they've had. Meninga's kick to come, and this time it looks plumb. That is a superb kick from Meninga. Pressure's off. Australia lead 13-7, and that surely is going to be enough. But don't they know they've been in a scrap? Well, Hull will have a right to feel disappointed. They've given absolutely everything. Nobody could have asked any more. And people like Rose and Crane have battled, and another substitution has been made with Mick Sutton coming into the battle. It's just been announced, by the way, that Mick Crane is Hull's man of the match, and I'm not at all surprised at that, because he really has had a valiant performance, Crane. The ball's been knocked back, and Hull trying to conjure up another try with Pearce. 3 second half tries then, 2 from Growth and 1 from Boosted. And I think it's asking too much of Hull now to get back in front. Sterling And ready, and they're through that gap once more, and they're running so strongly now, Australia, as they come back inside. Boosted. Seems to have recovered from the knock he took. Pearce. A few legs flailing there as he tries to wriggle from the ground. Boyd avoiding one crunching tackle, falling to the second one. 5 tackles. Just 4 minutes to go, plus a little bit of injury time that we've had. As Sterling tries to go darting down the middle, he weaved this way and that, and in the end fell to a tackle around the neck, in which substitute Sutton was involved. So it's a scrum down. But somehow the atmosphere seems to have been quietened here. For so long in this game, the crowd really felt as though a shock might be on the cards and that Hull might take away that Australian record. It's not going to happen now. But they can be proud of their side, all right, which has fought all the way. Well, once that pile of bodies gets up, we'll find out who's got the ball. Tony Dean's got it. Makes a spirited run. So a last final fling from Hull, perhaps. Crooks. That was Rose. Oh, and that ball going down, knocking it forward. So that takes a bit of the heat off Australia once more. But I think it's fair to say that at half-time in the dressing room there must have been a few words swapped. Australia trailing then by 7 points really had to do something to claw their way back into this match, and that's exactly what they've done with those 3 tries. So they've shown commendable spirit really to fight off everything that Hull have thrown at them. 2 minutes to go. Hull have got the ball from the scrum. It's not coming out cleanly, but they definitely had the possession. Referee's wondering where on earth to go. In the end, he does edge around on the Australian side, and Hull can play the ball. With Sutton. Oh, dearie me, lost it straight away, and there must be a chance here as Lewis goes streaking down the left-hand side, gets it back inside to Meninga, swats one off, not the second. He got rid of Banks, he couldn't get rid of Kemble. Sterling flinging a long pass out to Kenny, and Pearce is taken out of it. Price, Sterling. Such an artful dodger, Peter Sterling. But even if they don't score again, the Australians will be delighted with the way they've come back into this match. And I think they'll leap for joy as the hooter goes. Price has got it back inside for Boyd. 5th tackle, and we're moving into injury time. There's a knock on there without question by Boyd. Well, it's been a very hard, bruising, competitive game as this one, with Hull giving as good as they've got, and coming again. Price's tackle then, a good one. And it was on Crane, who has absolutely been outstanding for Hull. Topless. We really are playing out time now, and Australia are going to maintain this record. This, along with the matches at Wigan and Bradford Northern, the closest in terms of score, but it wasn't really until 6 minutes from time that 3rd try from Eric Groth clinched the victory, which is now confirmed by the sound of the hooter. Eric Groth goes off, having scored 2 fine second-half tries, and with one coming from the other winger, Kerry Boosted, Australia register a 13-7 victory. But it really was a marvellous performance by Hull. Their crowd are singing them off the pitch. after that try from David Topless just before half-time, and a couple of goals from Lee Crooks had sent Hull in leading 7-0 at half-time. Australia really had to raise their game in the second half. That was exactly what they did with those tries from Growth 2 and Boosted, and a couple of goals from Meninga. And so these are the most successful Kangaroos ever to visit Great Britain, having won their first 12 matches of the tour. That is a new record, and in so doing they've totted up 345 points. It really is a marvellous way for them to go into the second test at Wigan on Saturday. Once more then, the final score here at the Boulevard is Hull 7, Australia 13. Mick, quite simply, was that the hardest game you've ever played in?
Well, if not the hardest, one of the hardest. It definitely was hard. We set out in the first 20 minutes to hit them with everything we had, try and put them off the game. When we got the ball, put a few chips over the top, try and stop them rushing up at us all the time. And I think it works. I think that's the only way you can beat them. It's the way to break them, you know.
They must be very frustrating to play against, because whereas you basically have jobs during the day and then come and play rugby for fun, they're full-time, aren't they?
Yeah, that's where they've got it over us. They're super fit out there compared with us. We train 2 hours on a Tuesday and Thursday, pouring with rain, snow. They train in the sunshine all day, no jobs, they're all sponsored.
That's your answer, isn't it?
Well,
really?
that is. Until we do that over here, I don't think we've got a chance against them.
So you don't see any hope for Great Britain in the second test?
Well, there's always hope, but I think they'll have to approach it like we did tonight. Hit them with everything they've got the first 20 minutes and take it from there.
Mal, I don't think there's any question about it. That's probably the hardest game you've had.
Definitely the hardest. We came here tonight and expecting a hard one, and we got one.
Were you worried at all at any stage you might just get beaten?
Oh, no, we're always worried, you know, especially when they went 7-0 up at half-time, you know. But we were playing well at the time. They were playing a little bit better, but, you know, the second half we come out a bit fired and, you know, we got the results, which was the main thing.
There must have been some strong words in the dressing room at half-time, I imagine, because you really did come out and take the game by the scruff of the neck.
No, there wasn't really harsh words, but and we were playing fairly well at that stage, and we didn't have much possession in that first half, and Hull had us camped down our line all the time, and it was a very clever chip kick. They got the score to try, and we came back, and that proves our character, and so we can continue, keep on winning.
How much does it mean to you, the fact you've now set up a record as the most successful Kangaroo touring team, winning the first 12 matches? Well,
it's a tremendous thing to be part of. It's we got a lot of criticism when the team was first picked over in Australia, and we're very pleased that we did break the record, and just hope we can set a new record and win all the games over here in England.
After a